Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Weekly Entertainment, your source for madcap mayhem in broadcast journalism. Okay, well, usually I like to bring you a bunch of crazy jokes and stuff for the opening monologue, but today we're just going to jump right into it, because if you tuned in last week, we had author Nora Cook Smith. Well, here's the second part. We also have another very special guest. You might remember him, Mr. Chris Nadeau, the horror writer. So we're just gonna dive right into it. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Weekly Entertainment. That's right, we're back for another week of madcap mayhem and broadcast journalism. Well, we have a very special show for you this week. It's our part two. Last week we sat down with one of my personal favorite authors, Ms. Nora Cook Smith, and we have her back for a second segment. I think we just needed a lot more time to cover. We also have, you might remember him, Mr. Chris Nadeau is also joining us on the stage, so let's give them both a very warm welcome. Thanks for coming back, you two.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Wow, this is kind of a reunion show of sorts, because we were all, part of this writing group. So is that still happening? Because I've been out of the loop for a little bit. So what are both of you up to lately? Chris, I guess we can start with you.
Well, I've been obviously writing. I've had quite a few short stories published in the last couple of years. But yes, to answer your question, that writing group does still meet.
Oh, okay.
Usually every 2 weeks.
Okay. So it's just like it was before. Because, I was part of this group until about a year ago.
Okay.
And, when, life happens, let's just say that. So, Nora, thanks for joining us for another segment.
Glad to be here.
Well, last week was a lot of fun, and we're glad to have you back. Thanks for making the trek down here. But are you working on anything else since the last time we talked?
Yes, I am. I do have a new book coming out.
Okay.
It will be called A Not So Perfect Year.
Not So Perfect Year, okay.
And it has another 12 stories about what can happen during a year.
Okay.
To different people.
So is it going to be another, because I know the last one had a nice variety of different, it goes from, humorous to heartwarming, is it going to have the same variety?
Yes, it totally does. Starts out with a humor about New Year's resolutions between a husband and a wife.
Okay.
What can go wrong. It has several stories. It has a ghost story in it.
A ghost story, okay.
Yes, President Kennedy visits somebody in one of the stories.
Oh, interesting.
And has, I guess I would call it more sci-fi story, the last one, about a man who goes back to Pearl Harbor.
Oh, cool.
So It's a Pearl Harbor story. So it's basically kind of like the different holidays during the year it's centered around.
So are both of you looking forward to the upcoming holiday season?
I'm looking forward to Pearl Harbor Day, apparently. I didn't know that was a holiday.
Okay.
It's a day of remembrance.
That's right.
Yes.
I love that story, by the way. I have read it.
Okay.
We're both with the same publisher, so we get to read each other's stuff before it actually goes out there.
Oh, cool,
Yes,
cool.
yes.
So does that help you both as writers?
Absolutely.
To be able to read each other's?
Absolutely.
So being part of a group is a really good thing, and you would strongly suggest that to an aspiring writer, because that's, we're trying to give tips for those out there that are writing a novel or want to write a novel. So.
Oh, totally. I would say find yourself a writing group,
Okay.
whether it's a face-to-face or I know some people work with online groups.
Oh, okay. So there's online groups.
Whatever works for you, because that's how you hone your craft, is by listening to other people, by having their critiques. Wouldn't you say that, Chris?
I agree. Stephen King doesn't, but I agree. But
Can't
Stephen
argue
King
with that.
also recommended Justin Cronin's The Passage, which
I'm not familiar with
I
that
haven't
one.
forgiven him for yet. So
So
I don't listen to him when it comes to right. Yeah, I don't listen to him when it comes to the workshop thing.
What is it, Justin Cronin?
Justin Cronin,
Okay.
The Passage.
The Passage. Okay.
What is it about that word? Because Passage is by Connie Willis. Just a terrible book, and she's a very good author. So-
I don't know. This one is another post-apocalyptic, thinly disguised zombie novel, basically.
Oh, okay. Number one, I don't like, I think this whole zombie craze, to me, has run its course. I know
Well, we talked about that when I was here.
Yeah, yeah. And then the trailers were just released for that World War Z, and it looks awful.
It's about 7 years too late. I mean, the book came out
sure.
when the zombie thing was in a resurgence, and now that it's already kind of hit its peak and it's become obnoxious, they finally make the movie about the quintessential book that started it all. But that's Hollywood, I guess.
Well, yeah. And of course, it's going to have Brad Pitt, and I'm sure it'll be a big summer blockbuster, but we shall see. So it looks like both of you brought some books.
Yes.
Nora, what do you have for us?
I have a Not So Perfect Christmas,
which
is a collection of Christmas short stories.
Right.
And they're stories, I would not call them so much Christmas stories as stories of things that happen around the holidays that make it not so perfect. So a little humor, a little fantasy, a little mainstream. There's going to be an animal in there somewhere because I'm such an animal lover.
Aren't we all?
And then the other one is Dead and Well and Haunting St. Luke's, which is a ghost story about a young girl who finds herself dead in a hospital, and feels like she can't go on. There's a mystery about her life that she doesn't really know where she comes from, how her life really began, and this is a chance for her to find out.
Excellent. That sounds very good. And Chris?
Yes.
What have you brought us this week?
Well, I brought my novel, which is Dreamers at Infinity's Core, that we talked about before. And that's the story of a writer who gets trapped in his own fictional universe and cannot communicate with his characters during a time when things are turning really bad.
Yeah, that actually brings up a really good point. Do you guys, when you're writing, become your characters in a way? Do you become so absorbed into the book, into your characters, that you maybe become them, I guess? Is it?
I sometimes do. There was one character I wrote who was kind of obnoxious, and I became probably as obnoxious as he was.
Oh, really? Is that in your Infinity's Core book?
No.
Okay.
No, this was a short story that I wrote. But mostly, no. I mean, we all start out writing that character that we really want to be, because that's the only thing we really understand. And I'm sure I acted like those characters, but as I've become more experienced and written more realistic, everyday people, I don't find that to be the case anymore.
Oh, all right. Interesting. Nora?
No, I don't become my characters. I get obsessed with them.
Oh, really? You become obsessed,
where they're on my mind a lot.
Oh, okay.
Especially if I'm trying to work through something.
You're such a mom.
Oh, you know what? I probably am. Okay. But no, I don't become them.
Okay.
And I like to think I can write any character.
I have arguments with mine, if that counts.
You have arguments with yours?
Sure. I've actually written them out.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So do you ever want to kill them off?
Well, you read my stuff. I have no problem doing that.
Yeah, that also brings up you bring up an interesting point. Do you start out a story, either of you, knowing your characters are going to live or die, or does that kind of evolve with the story? I mean, I'm sure you make up a list of what characters the book is going to include, but do you decide, okay, this one's going to die, this one's going to die?
Sometimes.
Do you use lists?
I do, at least.
I pretty much just kind of go at it. I don't really outline.
Really? You don't?
No, I don't use outlines. I think they restrict the creative flow. At least they do for me.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, as I'm writing, I'll say, okay, this guy is, as they say, wearing a red shirt. For those who don't know, that's reference to Star Trek, and the crewmen always died who wore the red shirts on the show.
Of course.
But yeah, and sometimes it actually hits me really hard if I really like the character and really care, but the story just dictates that they have to go.
Couldn't you change the story to keep the character alive, or?
If I feel the story will still have the same integrity, but most times it doesn't. Most times the instinct is right and the character needs to go.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Well, we're going to get into more of the publishing aspect of it after the break, because we're down to a minute left in this segment. So I see you. I'm looking at the Zippered Flesh novel right there with the very interesting cover. What is that? Is that an anthology? Or
yes.
Is that, okay. What is your story in that one?
It's a story called You With Me. This is an anthology about body enhancements gone wrong, basically.
Wow.
My story is about a man who basically takes his favorite parts of the women he loves and grafts them to himself.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's
I
the
hope you
feel-good
don't
hit of
become
the
that
season.
character.
Right. No, I don't become the crazy people.
Well, good. Well, we're gonna take a short break, and we'll be back with our guests, Nora Cook-Smith and Mr. Chris Nadeau, and we're gonna check out a video by Ian, and we'll be back right after the break. And you want to stay tuned.
Welcome to the Michigan events part of the show on Weekly Entertainment. Last week we went over some events from PureMichigan.com, and we are back with more Pure Michigan events happening this week. We got Santa's Arrival and Courthouse Lighting in downtown Midland, in Midland, Michigan, on the 27th of November. We got the Full Moon Stroll also happening in Midland, Michigan on the 28th of November. In Newberry, Michigan, we got the Newberry, Michigan Christmas celebration happening on November 28th. In Saginaw, we have the Oak Ridge Boys Christmas Concert that is happening on November 28th as well. And we got a Christmas by the Fireside, a 1940s radio show at the University Center at Saginaw Valley University from November 28th through November 29th. We have this is up in Marquette. This is in the Upper Peninsula, but if you're up there watching this, you can go to this as well. Holiday Parade and Tree Lighting Ceremony in Marquette, Michigan, in downtown Marquette on the 29th of November. We got Christmas with the Rat Pack happening in Detroit from November 27th through December 2nd at the Fox Theater. And we continue on here. We got we have another round concert in Sturgis, Michigan on November 30th. John Denver Tribute Concert in Three River, Michigan at the Rivera Theater on the 30th of November. And in Traverse City, another northern part of the state, Santa's Arrival in Traverse City. That is happening on November 30th as well. There's a lot of November 30th things on here. We got the Greens and Crafts Show and Sale in Kalamazoo, Michigan, happening from November 30th through December 1st. So that's a 2-day event. In Saginaw, we have the Thomas Township Concert Train happening on the 30th of November through the 1st of December. In Hart, Michigan, we got the Holiday Market happening from November 23rd through December 1st. And we have the annual Christmas in Ida Festival and Parade of Lights in Ida, Michigan, Monroe County Convention and Tourist Bureau happening from November 30th through December 2nd. We got about another minute and a half here, so hang on. In Midland, we have the Nutcracker Performance happening from November 30th to December 2nd, and it is at Midland Center of the Arts. Big John's MMA at St. Sue Marie on December 1st. Ortonville has the Christmas in the Village on December 2nd. December 1st. Circle of Trees is happening in Muskegon, Michigan on the 1st. Now, there's not a lot of Detroit things, so that's why I'm kind of saying north and south of here. We got the Gladwin County Festival of Lights Christmas Parade happening in Gladwin on the 1st of December. Marquette has the Holiday Art Sale on December 1st. Holiday Lights is happening on Iron River on the 1st of December, 1st of next month. And let's go through a few. I know we only got a few seconds, but let's do a few more. We got an Oxford Christmas Parade happening on December 1st. It's in Oxford, Michigan. Williamston's got the light parade on December 1st as well. Lexington Christmas Tree Lighting and Merchant Candle Walk is in Lexington, Michigan. That's in the 1st of December, and that's just a little bit north of Port Huron, Michigan. And we're going to do one more event here. Holiday Wine Tasting Extravaganza in Durand, Michigan on the December 1st. Okay, let's do one more. That one wasn't family oriented at all. Okay, we got the Too Hot to Handle in Detroit Opera House on December 1st. And let's do one more, actually. We got the story. No. In November, we got the Holiday Craft Extravaganza from the 1st of December to the 2nd of December, and that's at the Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi. That's going to wrap up this week's events from Pure Michigan, and we'll see you next week for more events.
Okay, hello, and we're back with Weekly Entertainment, your indispensable source for Madcap Mayhem and broadcast journalism. Okay, well, we're going to continue our interview with Nora Cook-Smith and Chris Nadeau. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we were talking, a little bit about your individual writing influences, but let's talk about the publishing end of this. Okay, I know I've asked you each individually, the pros and cons of self-publishing versus, going with a small press or, even shopping your ideas around to a larger publishing house, like say, a Random House or Penguin or something like that. Have you both had experiences in sending out your work to the larger publishing houses, Nora?
Oh, I absolutely have. Yes, yes, and it's a lot of work because you're trying to find an agent or trying to find a larger publisher, or even some of the smaller publishers. Just sending it out over and over and over, you have to really steel yourself for rejection. That's part of publishing.
So somebody who doesn't take rejection very well,
I would say
probably they're in the wrong business.
Yeah, I would say you're going to have to get tougher if you really want to get out there. If you really want your work to get out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because my whole life seems to be just one big rejection. That's going to be the
Then it's perfect.
the name of my biography. Rejected the life of But Chris, how about you? Have you been through the trenches? So
With
to
the
say?
large publishers, no.
No, really?
My marketing scheme's a little bit different.
Oh yeah.
Because I kind of reinvented myself as a horror writer.
Oh okay.
Because the horror editors were more receptive to what I was writing, which was often fantasy and science fiction with a darker tinge to it.
Oh, okay.
So, I've gone with the mid-level publishers. Haven't had as much luck as I have with the actual short story publishing, but like Tor or one of those large publishers you mentioned, no, I have not aimed that way yet.
Okay. Have you ended up in any magazines or anything like?
A few.
Oh really? Okay.
A few. There's a science fiction short story magazine.
Oh sure.
That's one. There was another one called. It's called the Horror Zine. It's actually online.
Oh all right.
I've been published with them about 2 or 3 times.
Oh really? Okay. Now you just approached them. You just sent them a copy of your work, and they accepted it, or did you?
With the Horror Zine, I actually was asked to review their best of collection, and I read it, and I was so impressed by the quality that I wound up sending them a story that they accepted.
Oh wow.
How to make your own market.
Yeah, and I've actually kind of forged a friendship with the editor, Jeannie Rector, and we kind of email back and forth, and
Oh,
You know, it's a pretty rewarding experience, and you know, she has a lot of contacts in the horror field as far as more well-known writers.
oh, great. So it's all about, kind of who you know
Mhm.
in the
To
business
some extent.
also. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you have no talent, you're only going to go so far no matter
Oh,
what.
sure,
But if you can make contacts like anything else, that talent that you do have will have a better chance of being seen.
Okay. How about you, Nora? Have you been published in anything else other than your Not for Christmas in your other book? Have you-
Well, years ago, I found somebody was interested in my poetry.
Oh,
At that point,
so-
I
you
haven't
must
written
write
poetry
That
in
was me.
years. No, no, not quite. He would not have loved these at all, but they were in inspirational poetry, and I found somebody who loved them, and so I sold several poems. That was my first real taste of getting paid for it.
Oh, great.
You know, other
great.
than that, yeah, I've had things published. Maybe an article here or something like that, but usually those were gratis. Just either didn't get paid or paid very little. So my real first publishing experience was this Not So Perfect Christmas, where actual more lucrative returns.
And you have done very well with it. I mean, it's a great book. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't see why you wouldn't actually.
Yeah, obviously I would love to get it out there more,
Sure.
but it's in foreign countries now.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic.
certainly the publisher didn't do that. Somebody else picked it up and sold it in England and France and Germany or whatever.
That's great.
As I sent that email out around, it's been, millions of copies have been sold.
Right.
It's a bestseller, and that's news to me, but I loved it.
Wow. Oh, well, congratulations. I mean, that's fantastic.
If only it were true, but
Which actually makes me that brings up a really good point. For those budding writers out there, is there really money in this? I mean, is it lucrative? Should
It's funny. Nora actually brought up a point I wanted to raise
Oh, okay, go
about
for
the
it.
gratis thing.
Yeah, that kind of ties in.
There are a lot of people out there who think that you should feel honored that they even want to hear or read something you did, and so they don't think that money should even have to change hands. Unfortunately,
well, I disagree with that.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but they kind of look at it as a hobby,
Okay.
and if you're not making millions of dollars at it, that's pretty much all it is to them. I mean,
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
and Nora will remember this. I had an area community college that actually expected me to not only show up and read for no fee, but to also recruit other writers for them to create a program so that I could show up. So, you have this attitude that you should be giving it away, basically. So it's a constant struggle. Lots of anthologies and magazines don't pay
Oh, really?
these
Okay,
days.
I
They
didn't know
they
that.
give you exposure.
Which is great too in
It
itself.
is.
Yeah.
And I've done that. I have. Not all of the anthologies I'm in have paid me. But it's not something you necessarily are going to make a living at.
Okay.
No, I would agree. I think very few get that opportunity, but it can be a source of extra income.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I'm kind of looking at it right
Right.
now. If I ever get to retire, maybe that'll be the source of income.
And you kind of have to look in other directions too, tie-ins, movie deals, video game deals, things like that. The book is no longer the end-all be-all.
Oh, all right.
That's true, and I have a dream that someday somebody will like my book so much or a story so much that they'll
Make a
want to
movie
make
of
it into a movie.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
That would just be wonderful.
Well, by the, I mean, I've some of your stories. I think it would make very good movies. I
Oh,
think.
thank you.
Actually,
I agree.
Yeah.
Thanks.
How about you, Chris? Have you done anything other than writing novels? I mean, have you written any screenplays or?
Someone is actually filming a version of a short story of mine called Floorboards.
Floorboards, okay.
And I wrote the screenplay version of that.
Oh wow, and it's actually
Which is
it's actually
pretty
being
exciting.
shot.
Yeah,
that
and
is-
it's
that is
supposed to
pretty
start shooting soon.
Oh, cool. Any well-known actors in it or anything?
No, it's a small production.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a short film, not a feature length or anything like that.
Well, still, it's probably very very exciting.
Oh,
For you,
absolutely.
Yeah, to actually see some of your works come to life like
Yeah.
that. I imagine that would be awesome. Well, we're actually we're actually running out of time. Is there anything you two would like to plug before we go? Nora, I guess we'll start with you.
Well, I do have a new book coming out,
Okay.
A Not So Perfect Year, and that will be on the same format as A Not So Perfect Christmas, 12 stories that go through the year.
Great.
And I think I probably already mentioned it, but you got to keep plugging over and over.
And you have a website.
Yes, I do. I do have a website. It is noracooksmith.com.
Okay. Oh, there it is, right
And-
there on the screen.
And I
Perfect.
also have a blog page, which is Nora Cook Smith at blogspot.com.
All right, and Chris, what do you have to
My
pimp for us?
second novel should be coming out soon. It's the sequel to Dreamers at Infinity's Core.
Oh,
It's called Echoes of Infinity's Core. It kind of picks up 6 months after this book left off, where everybody is really damaged and trying to deal with what happened before.
oh, cool.
I have a website, but please don't ask me for the address.
But if
'Cause I
somebody
just
wanted to actually
created
buy
it.
your book, where would they find it?
Amazon is the best source.
Amazon. Okay,
yeah.
just look up Christopher Nadeau.
I do have an
Okay.
author page there,
Oh, cool.
so
okay,
it lists
so,
everything I've published so far.
all right, great. So we want to look for that. And wow, that unfortunately is all the time we have. We could have done another hour. I'd like to thank you both for joining us on the show.
Well, thank you.
It's always a pleasure, and we would love to have you back at some point, and we can talk more about writing and what goes into it.
Sure.
An hour just doesn't
Love
seem to be enough.
Yeah.
All right, well, folks, that's another show for you this week. Real quick, first person to friend me on Facebook, that's Rudolph Michel, gets a free Xander T-shirt. Humans taste like chickens. So first one to friend us on Facebook gets a free shirt. Yep, there's the web address. Friend us up, and we'll get that out to you. Well, join us again next week for more Madcap Mayhem. And wow, I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday. I know Thanksgiving's coming up, or actually you might have passed us already. I don't know when this is going to air exactly. But be sure to join us again for another episode of Weekly Entertainment. Again, I'd like to thank our guests, Nora Cook Smith and Chris Nadeau, very good friends of mine, and it was great having you both back. And I hope to see you both again in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good night, ladies and gentlemen.